Okay. Test these, ready, and test these. 1, 2, 3.
Mic check.
And stop. And test these. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hold on. I need to pull up the terms of this Ron DeSantis bill.
Pull up the who? Oh, DeSantis.
Test.
Yeah. If you're gonna lean over, you might as well put that angle. You put your situation better, dog.
I can't figure this out, man.
Yeah, why are you worse at this?
Test.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Oh yeah, I saw Philip Arnold last night, by the way.
Randomly?
No, Harry called me. They were having drinks across the way at a bar over there. So he's like, "Yo, come across." So I had a couple drinks with Philip, Harry, and Philip's new girl.
Let's go and say, is she old?
Cheers.
Really?
Yeah. I was actually gonna I looked at her and I was like, yeah, "You've seen some things, huh?"
Are you sure it's new or no?
That she's new?
Yes.
I mean, she's new meaning I feel Phil's always got something new in the game. I don't think she's been around. I mean, she's not new to this world. That's for damn sure.
This is fucking guy.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Hold up, you want to do the sound, and there you go. Now you're ready for your sound.
Hold on.
Filibuster.
All right.
3, 2, 1, and
Kaboom!
did you forget you had to do that?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were on.
Took you too long. Good morning, everybody. I don't know why I said good morning, by the way, but it doesn't really matter. What's going on, everybody? This is Amit.
And Dominic.
And another episode of the AIB Show. Thank you guys for joining us for what'll be another, hopefully, jovial / deep or thought-provoking conversation about stuff that are happening right now. We'll do some stuff locally, some stuff across the side of the country in California. Let Dom start off. What are we talking about, Dom?
Whoa.
Okay, he's not ready for that. Okay, so while he's chuckling and trying to look at the research or whatever, a couple things that I'll bring up to note real quick in the not so crazy situation. And I mentioned this on our Insta situation. So for those of you who saw it on the Insta, thank you. For those who didn't, Idris Elba has he's got a show called Luther, which is on Netflix, which is really dope. And BBC, who is I think a producer of the show, they hired like I guess not quality control, but a person who's looking for cultural diversity and stuff like that in the projects. And she came out and said that the show is not accurate in its depiction of a black man in well, it's not accurate in general because it's not showing Luther having many black friends and or eating Caribbean food on Caribbean street food, I think is what the quote was, which is comical to me because I'm an Indian man and I don't go around with gaggle Indian friends all the time / eating Indian food on the streets either. It's just I found that to be just kind of like nitpicking, I guess, is for lack of a better word.
Very much so. In fact, I eat more Indian food than you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like I don't know. Does Luther have to have a bunch of black friends because he's black? Like what does that mean?
It's this whole monolith. Everybody's got to be the same. All black people are the same.
Yeah.
White people.
So I found that to be pretty crazy.
Especially when if you actually watch the show, which again is great, he doesn't have friends.
He doesn't do anything.
He doesn't eat.
I've seen the man do tea. At like odd hours, he doesn't eat. He doesn't even really change. He wears the same coat everywhere. He doesn't really change. He drives an old beat up Volvo, which again I don't think is representative of many of black folk. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it's just like I think that's just nitpicky, but. The BBC may do something about that, so you may see some new black friends for him going forward. So there's that. And then Vin Diesel apparently is doing a movie called Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which I believe was just done by Hugh Jackman some years ago called Real Steel, which was the same damn movie, but now Vin Diesel's in one. And I think that's going to be also garbage, because Vin Diesel is not a good actor. But that's neither here nor there. All right, Dominic, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
A lot of stuff.
Okay, it's about to get deep and less exciting. Go ahead.
I was about to say that's what you said, but no. Less exciting.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah, okay, so George Floyd.
Yes,
right?
familiar with that.
Cities are, I don't know if cities, Minnesota is definitely preparing for potential riots.
Correct.
I know the NBA is also, has their teams preparing as well.
Okay.
I want to talk about riots.
Okay.
We'll talk about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. This jackass just signed this a bill in Florida which is supposed to combat public disorder.
Correct.
Among other things, it increases legal charges for people who assault anyone, particularly law enforcement, or damage property during a riot. I'm actually I am okay with the increasing charges for people who assault anyone, but it requires a person arrested for rioting to be held in custody until their first appearance in court, which is absolute shit. Because, as we've seen time and time again, too many people in this country get arrested for things they shouldn't morally be arrested, but how about this, legally arrested? And the premise of law in this country is innocent until proven guilty. If we're arresting people and keeping them in jail to their appearance, what if the appearance is 4, 5, 6 days later? This is opening up Pandora's box for problems. I know they're trying to use this as scare tactics, but it's not going to work. And we're going to arrest people unjustly. Primarily so, again, as usual, they're going to be disproportionate. Even though we've seen, we saw some of the riots last year where we saw, I think, what news channel it was, and there was white people taking stuff out of Target. There was this one lady with a bunch of stuff, and the newscaster was like, "Oh my, I think." She said something.
She's like, returning it.
She's like something. She probably did buy that, and then and it's like, no, she's stealing, just like everybody else is stealing. The people of color stealing. She is stealing as well, and she was stealing a lot of stuff, right? But it was that default mechanism of just falling back. Well, she's probably innocent and probably so. We talk about rioting and there's people celebrating this and not realizing the reason for the riots. Of course, there are people in there just to cause mayhem, right? A smaller sector of people are in there to cause mayhem. But who said? Oh, MLK. A riot is the language of the unheard. For 400 years, people have been complaining about what's going on, right? Pre-civil rights, post-civil rights, nothing is changing. Nothing. So what else can be done? If you're mad, it doesn't justify it. It's understandable. If you're mad, you may punch a wall or yell at your kid or your wife. It doesn't justify it, but it's a natural human reaction. And how often or how few times do these riots actually turn tragic? I can't imagine or picture any since Rodney King, that tragedy where they dragged the I don't know if he was white or Hispanic or whatever, dragged him out and killed him, and that was horrible. Since then, I don't know of any. Maybe there's one or two, but there hasn't been cases of actual violence, right? And we talk about the looting. Well, guess what? In Minnesota, they paid $27 million to George Floyd's family. Who paid for that money? The citizens.
Who paid that money?
Who paid? No, who?
You paid for that money?
Yeah.
Either way,
yeah.
I'm down.
Who paid that money? The citizens paid that money. So who's actually looting? Right? Was it the damage to the properties, or is it actually the municipalities and the police departments allowing this over and over again? I don't know the numbers in New York, but I remember reading it. It was staggering in terms of the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been paid out in lawsuits. So be prepared. If Derek Chauvin, the officer who was kneeling on George Floyd, gets off completely or very light in the eyes of many of the public, there's going to be a lot of,
which I expect actually,
a lot of stuff happening.
I don't see him getting charged at all.
I heard. I didn't listen, but I heard the prosecution's closing arguments and statements was kind of weak. So maybe it is, and the fervor we're going to have and the collective anger at all these savages, these animals rioting in the street, we care more about property than we do about people, which is clear.
Yes, because people...
But property that's not ours. I understand if it's your property.
Yeah.
We're caring about a Target or this, and that's what we care about, but not about human beings that are your fellow citizens. And if I'd say one more point of this, if at this point, everything going on doesn't bother you to the core, and I'm not saying you have to go out there petitioning and going to Congress, but if it doesn't bother you to the core where it irks you and you can understand, then quite frankly, you don't have any black friends. You know black people.
Easy, Shannon
Yeah,
Sharp.
but yes, but you don't have any black friends. It's coming and going, right? It's that simple.
Yeah, because that's what Shannon Sharp was saying in
Yeah.
essence. So he was saying that like people, if there are people who know black people, right? And you know, there's the standard line of, hey, I've got black friends.
Yeah.
But knowing black people / having black friends are two different things. Because when you have black friends, then you actually, you know, can empathize. Well, at least that's a hope, unless you're a horrible friend.
Yeah.
And if you know black people, then they're just people.
Yeah.
They're not really, you know, you have no direct impact, and that's kind of one of the things that's going on as it relates to all of this.
Oh, this Florida bill also allows you to plow through people if you feel you're in imminent danger.
Yeah, well, DeSantis
Because
is an idiot.
when does that happen? Again, since Rodney King, there may be one. I'm unaware of anything where people have been attacked, physically attacked and injured in one of these protests and riots.
I saw the
It's
cops
never
driving
happened.
over people
So,
in New York.
oh, right. That's it. What I'm saying is
I
that
know.
people done it, right?
Yeah.
So now this is going to be carte blanche to just drive over people like happened in Charlottesville. It's asinine.
No, so there's a bunch of things going on right now in regards to the riots one. So there was a bunch of preemptive legal rulings that are coming down right now, and they're coming from the Republican Party, which is why I'm calling it that. You can whatever call it partisan, I could give a crap. Anyway, so Ron DeSantis being idiot number one in this particular scenario, who obviously with this particular situation, as Dominic just mentioned. Then there are a slew of other and obviously the voting stuff that we talked about as well. Again, coming from the Republican Party, preempted, right? You had two, like literally less than a handful of voter fraud cases, but yet we have to change everything because there's so much fraud out there. The amount of mass shootings, no, too soon, can't talk about the guns, that's not the situation we want to deal with right now, which is weird because the NRA isn't really backing you guys anymore, but either way, because they're kind of going bankrupt, right? So that's another issue right there. And then another thing right now is that now they're also coming out against trans people, right? Again, as a preemptive thing, we got to protect the kids, bruv. All right, man. And it was funny too, I think it was Arkansas. They were going back and forth. So the bill came up, etc. And in essence, we're saying that you cannot. There are these drugs that doctors will prescribe for underage individuals, if you will, so people going through first stages of puberty, so that you can actually pause puberty. And the idea there is that this will allow the family and the individual to determine what they want to do as they progress, whether or not they want to become trans or otherwise, right? So in essence, buys time. And they had a dude on there who is the quote-unquote medical professional who was speaking to the reason of why we need to have these laws. And I forgot who the individual was on the panel, literally asked, how many individuals to be treated in this particular scenario. And the dude goes, well, I had a pediatric practice back in the 70s, and since then I've been doing pediatric, yes. And since then I've been doing you realize this is a audio medium versus my bad. Moving on. Just speak, man. Don't point at stuff. And the dude was like, I've been doing anesthesia since then. And so yes, I haven't really seen anybody in the situation. So the person goes, hold up, so you zero is what you're trying to tell me, right?
The number
and he's
zero.
like, yes. So in essence, they're saying we got to protect the kids and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And it just comes down to the fact that one of these situations, and this started last 2016 in relation to North Carolina, where they passed the bill that you had to go to a bathroom that was that reflected what was on your birth certificate versus what gender you identify with. And that got eventually shot down only because commerce and money started leaving the state because the NBA pulled out, certain people pulled out, and that's what happened. So point is, everybody's acting like these preemptive things are just ridiculous because there is no claim for it. And one of the reasons for this trans situation right now is that they're protecting quote unquote sports, because I don't want my daughter to play on a team with a trans woman because my daughter by default will be inferior physically to this individual. Therefore, we need to protect the kids and that. And so versus having other people who identify as a certain gender who cannot go through this process of either converting or, and I'm maybe using wrong terminology, so I apologize because this is not an area of expertise for me, but people who are trying to find more comfort in their skin, So they can probably commit suicide, but let's not worry about them, right? And that's the reality, by the way. This is what happened with gay people back in the day. We had to protect people from that. We had to protect people from all these things. It's funny that the party that's about freedom is not necessarily about your freedom, but as long as your freedom aligns with their freedom, then by the way, it's freedom.
Of course.
Which always goes back to religion, my favorite thing. Because guess where all these freedoms came from, and all these ideas of what we should and shouldn't have, and blah, 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 blah. Yes. So I digress, but that annoys me, and it's coupling with all these things that are just preemptive laws and protections of people who, quite frankly, don't want your damn protections, man. How about you just leave us? You want to be left alone with everything, but you don't want to leave people alone? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like you always said how, and we tend to rail on the right a lot, even though
But I mean, listen what you
how you say, cancel culture sucks, or they
but then
they cancel. Yes,
but they're literally canceling people. Somebody who identifies as trans, I'm canceling you as an individual. But by the way, don't cancel my Coca-Cola or whatever else. I mean, come on, man. Like, I mean, pick a side. Like, legit pick a side. Yes, I will get off my soapbox.
It's I'm back on mine.
Go ahead.
This damn riot bill. Like, I'm so pissed off about this thing. It's wild. Again, we're gonna arrest people and not allow them to post bail. Because we can trust. Let's say this. Both sides of a scenario. Let's say we have there's actual rioting and it's wild and it's crazy and it's hard for the police to determine exactly who's at fault and who the culprit. They may mistakenly and innocently arrest the wrong individual, right? Based on odds. Now this individual's getting screwed, locked up for days, could lose their job, could lose their housing. It's a whole domino effect. Then on the flip side, let's say we have some rogue officers or something that, happened to, if it was like a Kyle Rittenhouse doing something, we'll let it slide. But if it's, a darker pigmented individual, we're going after that guy. And he or she are arrested unjustly so, they're getting screwed. I mean, this bill is just crazy. And it's focusing on the riots. It's what I think, I said that one time and you laughed. It's like a Band-Aid and a gangrene-infested wound, right? What kind of face?
I don't think I've ever heard that on my list. I've heard
there's got to be it. Yes,
okay.
I'm going to find it.
Okay.
Who's a big fan of the show? Like
it's Rebecca Christelle is
maybe someone transcribed this stuff. I'm going to find it, right? Somebody doesn't listen to his own show. So we're focusing on the riots instead of why there are riots in the first place. Makes no sense. Put the energy into that. Not only would it stop the riots, it would make this country better for everyone involved, every single person, not just from a moral aspect, from every aspect of being a resident of this country.
There you go. Quick question. What's your thought on the whole J&J process? Of how they pulled it or put a pause on it?
6 million administered and 6.
Almost 7, by the way. So you're saying
I think at the
time
it was 6.
Still high 6. It was like 6.8. It was high 6.
So
and
for
6
me,
cases.
those odds are minuscule. I can't think of another word, but minuscule doesn't do it justice. Meaning, it's more dangerous for me to walk outside.
Correct.
Yeah.
So but the abundance of caution that was immediately taken because of 6 versus of 7 million, or even 6 of 6 million if you want to go that route too, right?
Right.
Such
But
a
I think
negligible
what
percentage.
what had to, based on what we listened to and read, because those 6 happened, they didn't know how many more there were. And based on probability, there had to be more. Maybe it's only 1 more. Maybe it's 20 more, right?
Yeah, but you can always say that we're monitoring the process. You can do a bunch of things.
Well, remember, they considered that.
Yeah.
They were trying to say, do we warn everybody to consider that? I don't know. Have they found more since then?
No, not yet. I mean, it's one because then it just...
To clarify, he's talking about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I assumed everybody knew
No,
this.
come on, bro.
My bad.
We have foreign listeners too. It's AstraZeneca and other places.
You're familiar with Johnson & Johnson.
Not the vaccine where you go J&J situation. You go the J&J situation.
Yeah,
People
the
don't know
situation is
that.
the vaccine
people
getting
don't
pulled.
Yeah.
See, I'm talking about baby shampoo. They know what I'm talking about.
So, about 7 million Puff is saying vaccines of J&J, and they're one-shot vaccines.
Correct.
Were administered in the U.S., but 6 people died. Women.
No, not 6 people died. 6 people got blood clots.
Oh, they didn't die.
No. Well, I think 1 person died.
Yeah, you're right.
6 people got blood clots.
Now,
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's a minor thing and whatever. It's a thing that should be addressed. And the 6 people were all female, and then between the ages of like 80 and 48 or whatever, which is a pretty large damn situation. Pretty much just say female at that point, right? Because apparently the age range is irrelevant. But they pulled it or put a pause on it, which has the same effect, by the way. Because in essence, they let people. They recommended a pause, by the way. They didn't, and then people took extreme caution. People meaning your administrators, your CVSs, etc., and stopped administering it because of the pause. Because obviously, if you go that route and there's been a recommendation from the federal government, you don't do it. Somebody can come at you and sue you for something, I'm sure, in the litigious country that we are. So that's probably why they went that route. But I just find it really interesting that you can take this action so quickly as it relates to that, with those percentages. Yet, other things we can't make recommendations.
6 people got what?
Blood clots. You're such an idiot. Nobody can see that, guy. Nobody can see that.
For the YouTubes.
Yeah, as he walks away and he's showing for the YouTube camera, that's a man. We gotta be able to play that sound from the transcript that we had to do last week. Yeah. But either way, so that was something that I just feel like it's having its impacts already, especially people who don't believe in it. And there are people who don't believe in it. Ted Nugent being one of them. Just saw that he tested positive for it. He called it a hoax. Go figure. And that happens quite often, which is always comedic to me. On the flip side, they're making another Mighty Ducks show. Do we need another Mighty Ducks show?
Show or movie?
No, I think it's a show on Disney Plus. But I didn't realize that we were calling for more Mighty Ducks stuff. And then it's great. I'm looking through what's trending here on the Insta, and there are, holy crap, Dogecoin again jumps another 20%.
What's it at now?
I don't see the number, it's just a thing.
Today's Doge Day.
Yeah, which I didn't realize. Why is today Doge Day?
420.
Again, why does that have anything to do with Doge?
You get the masses, smoke and.
No, but why isn't that anything else day? Why does it be Doge Day? What does Doge have to do with 420?
But it wasn't pumping earlier. You gotta get with the lingo. It wasn't pumping like it thought, and now it's at. Yeah, so it's not pumping. It's only up 2.5% the last 24 hours.
This says 20. I don't know, man.
I check the date, clown.
Bro, that was today, my dude.
In the last 24 hours, it's up 2.5%. It's down 4.5% in the last hour.
Oh, apparently today is National Cold Brew Coffee Day too for 420. You can't just throw things on this 420 thing. People keep adding to it.
So Dogecoin is cryptocurrency that has skyrocketed this year.
Yeah, like legit crazy skyrocketing. My boy Mark got into it. Hope Mark's paying for dinners for a long time now. He did quite well on it.
Future guest?
Oh yeah. He'll be on an episode in the upcoming months, weeks, etc. Once we decide when to play.
It has been recorded.
It's been recorded. It's been recorded. We just haven't done anything with it. But yeah, and then finally, so the Derek Chauvin thing real quick, and then we'll wrap it up on this note, is he was... I just saw there's a skydiving death in California. Sorry about that. Derek Chauvin, so the judge was... Initially, the defense was asking for a mistrial.
Oh, I was half watching yesterday because he mentioned, the prosecutor mentioned, what was the word?
What's her face? Good Lord, I'm drawing a blank in her name, who I believe is a senator, and I'm forgetting her name right now. Anyway, she came out, Maxine Waters, I believe.
Oh, the congresswoman?
Yes, there you go. She said something in regards to the case, and then they said the case, the defense was asking for mistrial. The judge said no, but it became quite risky. In essence, because the defense was asking, remember I was saying last week or week before, the defense was asking that everybody be sequestered because of what's going on. Yeah. And the judge said, no, they're sequestered now, obviously, for deliberation. But Maxine Waters came out, people in public came out, what's going on right now in Minnesota. So these juries are seeing everything, the jury is seeing everything that's going on. And I don't know how you can put them in a box anyway, they haven't seen enough stuff in the history to see what's what. But either way, I again don't see this man getting off, I don't see this man getting charged with all 3 counts. So it's going to be
I'm actually ignorant. And, I don't understand how you can be charged with all three. How you can be found guilty. I don't get it.
I don't have the skill set to offer you a clear explanation on that either.
Someone explain it to us, please.
David Nitka. Give me a little synopsis so I can read it another day. But on that note, as we grind to a halt here, we will chat with you guys in the near future. Have a good one. Rate, review, all that good stuff.
Justice over order, especially with what's happening right now and what's going to happen after this verdict and everything with Dante Smith, Minnesota. Oh, lastly, you saw the black military individual was pulled over in. I don't know.
I'm familiar with the story.
And I believe, unless I'm mixing up stories, the chief came out and said that his guys did nothing wrong.
I don't know. I think I heard the same thing, honestly, but I don't know. In essence, simply put, for those of you who don't know, this gentleman he was in uniform, got pulled over by the cops.
Military uniform.
Yes, it drove to a well lighted. It was nighttime. He drove to a gas station. That place was well lit. I was saying lighted, but I stopped and I said well lit. And so we drove to the gas station, and he told the cops he wanted to go to a well-lit situation for their safety, I think is what he phrased it.
Yeah, and the police did say that's common practice in that area.
Yes.
Nothing else is around.
But they still drove, they pulled guns on him in the whole night, pulled him out of the car, did a bunch of stuff.
And it was on video where they said later, don't tell anybody about this or it's going to get worse for you. When they realized, they pulled him over for having no tag, but evidently they claimed they didn't see the tag stuck to his window. So he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Oh well.
Welcome to America.
Oh, this we should have played the This Is America thing. Yeah. Oh, but we don't have any rights to that kind of music.
Oh, I got something else. Riots. I forgot to.
We went?
No, I got one more thing.
Okay.
Talking about riots.
All right.
Our good friend David Mullins.
Yes.
You know, blew my whole
Capital.
There
we go.
Our financial guru, financial mentor, if you will. He had a post a few weeks ago where he quoted notorious lyrical wordsmith, Mr. Rodney Price, aka Bounty Killer, and his song "Look Into My Eyes" as it pertains to government. And I just want to read.
Go ahead. You can read it. He's typing and pulling it up. I'll filibuster. Okay, go ahead.
First of all, you don't use that word.
I use it twice today. I've never used it since.
You used it in a previous episode.
I'm sorry that my vernacular is broad enough to allow for such words.
And it's. I think you use it wrong.
Filibuster.
Incorrectly. Yeah.
Just killing time. Talking. Then it's just I should be talking about something for a lengthy amount of time.
No, but it's obstruct progress.
There's no progress going on.
No, we're trying to
time.
No.
There was zero progress.
Right. Anyway,
I'm sorry, we'll sit in silence.
Bounty.
Sorry.
Look into my eyes. Tell me what you see. Can you feel my pain? Am I your enemy? Give us a better way. Things are really bad. The only friend I know is this gun I have. Listen to my voice. This is not a threat. Now you see the 9. Are you worried yet? You've been talking about you want the war to cease. But when you show us hope, we will show you peace. That summarizes the frustration of the people right there.
Not gonna lie to you, knew that song forever. Did not think about the lyrics in that way at all. Straight up. This was not the way I viewed those lyrics at all.
Look into my mind, can you see the wealth? Can you tell that I want to help myself? But if it happens that I stick you for your ring, don't be mad at me, it's a survival thing.
Dude's got some skills. By the way, he did a versus with Beanie Man, which was the ish. For those of you versus fans out there, I've literally only watched that one. I'm not gonna because I don't really care about it, but they were really good.
Yeah, I'm way to steal the thunder from
what?
This was gonna be like the walk off.
What was the walk off?
The lyrics. That was it. Kaboom. Rap. Understand the...
No, that was perfect. That's where it's gonna end. I'm gonna cut out that understand part. That was perfect. What are you talking about?
All right, upload it.